Okay, so it seems that there's been another situation kind of involving the whole Bao the whale stuff, which we have covered obviously in the previous video. If you guys want to go see that, then you guys can go back and look at it. We essentially covered this tweet where essentially she talks about the fact that, you know, if you're an up-and-coming female content creator with a small but growing audience and a much larger male successful content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream and DMs, etc., don't walk, run. And essentially we talked about all of the controversy behind that and why some people are mad at it, some people are not so mad at it, some people are saying, like, you know, you should be reading into it. At the end of the day, I don't really care. I think it honestly was fine, but I know it's a very controversial kind of topic, and it's very, very evident by obviously the previous video. I looked at the kind of ratio of comments and likes and stuff. A lot of you guys are very torn behind it, and I can see why. You know, there is a big reason as to why it's a very controversial and very, very split subject. But essentially behind all of this, there has been a recent apology from a VTuber called Shondo, who we've obviously covered quite a bit over on this channel for some other things in the past. But essentially she kind of latched onto some of this over on this post. We talked about this post in the last video too, where essentially this person was going after Bao and saying, you know, I'm convinced this woman has one of the most intricate and stronger honey traps in place. Twice she's done horrible things and things like that, doubling down on her sexism, and essentially saying that, yeah, she's doubling down on sexism. And obviously many people disagree with that, many people agree with that. Again, it's a real mixed bag, right? And then Shondo actually replied to this by saying, groomer outed alert. Now, there has been many comments similar to this towards posts like this, saying like, hey, if you obviously are against what Bao is saying, then you are part of the problem and things, which can be true, but I don't think it's on the level where, you know, they're saying they're a groomer, right? And obviously that is a pretty serious thing to be throwing at someone. And yeah, lots of people were not happy with that. And as you can see, they said, I'm tempted to mute this part of the thread. Shondo didn't send her brightest or a worse thought. She did. And obviously Rev has been commenting on this, which we will get into, but essentially she did put out an apology for this reply over on her page, saying, I recently said something pretty mean on impulse that's being pretty roughly misinterpreted. It's British humor to throw words around, and I personally have seen so much hate on the internet now, especially directed towards myself, that I've become completely and utterly numb to it. It seems I might have forgotten many people haven't really reached that point yet. I'm always trying to be better, stronger, and kind of person. It was wrong to thoughtlessly say something cruel. That said, if there are robberies in your area, it's not a bad idea to log your door. If someone starts yelling about how you're oppressing them by telling people to do that, they might have a reason to feel so personally slighted. I think as men and women in the modern era, there is an incredible amount of strain between us, and I've always been an advocate for breaking that wall down. The strife and conflict is pointless and does nothing but perpetrate this stupid cycle of hate. Shondo Frenix, no, I am literally the opposite of a misandrist, and I don't take kindly at all to my thoughts being interpreted that way. TLDR, sorry for drama whoring. I stream a lot, very tired. Said the quiet part out loud. I can't tell you to be nice and also be mean myself. Which, yeah, obviously that is essentially what she had to say about her kind of you know, comment on this. And it is a pretty you know, obviously it's a pretty crazy accusation or like you know, word to throw out there when I'm pretty sure this person isn't a groomer. Hey, maybe there is a chance that they are, but I think 9 times out of 10, 99% sure that they are not, right? And so it is pretty crazy for her just to be throwing out there. Obviously, she claims like it's British humor to throw words around, which, yes, sometimes is true. A lot of British humor can be very like over the top and can be quite maybe hurtful to some other people, right? Because again, it does go quite extreme. But I don't think I can't say, obviously, you know, if you guys could tell I'm British, I don't think I've ever heard someone calling someone a groomer though. In kind of British banter. Maybe that's just in her kind of friend circles or whatever. But again, obviously we know that Shondo isn't like, you know, this super, you know, PC, like nice, like VTuber who is like not very, I guess, like moderated, right? She does say some pretty unhinged things and things, and obviously that's why people like her, and I think that's totally okay. But I think people just felt like she crossed the line with this one by calling this person a groomer, because again, it just doesn't really add much. And obviously she says, like, you know, there's as men and women in the modern era, there's an incredible amount of strain. I think it does kind of make it worse whenever you are saying stuff like this towards people. I think you are kind of, making even more of a kind of hatred between the two, which I think doesn't really help the case. Obviously, they say so much goes on in VTubing that doesn't come out in public, so many situations that don't get Google Docu'd, because if every situation of abuse or manipulation or cruelty that happens behind the scenes, especially among bigger creators, was written down and posted publicly, we'd be typing them up all day. It's hard to remember to be nice sometimes when I know so much, but I want to do my best to make this place better regardless. I will be the nicest. So again, I can understand, where she's coming from in certain aspects of this. For example, she wants people just to get along. She wants to break down the wall between, obviously, this kind of men and women hate that is going online. And I can 100% see that. But I don't think, obviously, this response was the best one. And obviously, there's been a lot of responses. For example, Rev here, obviously some people are saying you literally said nothing wrong. People just got ass busted and using it. So again, some people don't really care too much, but also at the same time, I think, she says, I don't care that I'm being dogpiled, and it's really frustrating to see the entire point being completely missed, but I do think I should apologize for publicly being mean. And obviously, yeah, Rev has said here, this response might make people upset, but I respect you too much to coddle you. Let's not mince words. You called someone a groomer for criticizing a VTuber you like. This is not British humor, as there is no punchline to the joke. Which, yeah, I do think is true. There is not really any punchline. And as I said, I don't think I've ever heard anybody call someone a groomer as a joke, right? Unless it's like on that kind of topic. It's just something you don't really throw out there, right? I said, you claim that you said the quiet part out loud also undermines your entire apology, which, yeah, I do think is also true. Saying that you said the quiet part out loud, which means that you still do think that way. It's just that you said that you shouldn't have said that quiet part. Right, and obviously that does undermine it. It said you've been relentlessly accused of being a PDF and a PDF enabler in your and people in your community and even outside of it have rightfully defended you from the baseless allegations. This is why people are shocked to see you flippantly call someone a groomer over a differing opinion. So essentially saying that, yeah, you have been attacked by this in the past for, similar kind of reasons, right? And that's why people are so shocked to see that she is obviously kind of doing the same to other people when she too has been through kind of similar situations of being called a PDF and a PDF enabler, right? So I think, yeah, that is also 100% a good point there. They said, you now say sorry for drama whoring with this response, but that's what you did when you decided to call someone one of the most horrific things in the world for having a differing opinion, which, yeah, I do think is true. As much as I think that the dude was wrong, and I think that obviously they shouldn't really be going out to bow after this, at the end of the day, they shouldn't be called a groomer or anything. Obviously, yeah, people could be kind of indifferent with their opinions and stuff. But yeah, again, I think that, yeah, say groomer outed alert is a bit too much, right? Whenever it comes to this, I said, I don't think you're a bad person or anything, but there is a reason why people are upset and questioning parts of your response, which, yeah, I do think is true. That is 100% true. And I think that Rev puts it pretty well there. And obviously, yeah, you got Trigger Point here saying, I think most knew it was a joke. Take care, Shondo. Obviously, Rock Solid saying, said the quiet part out loud with like a gif of what's his name, Ryan Gosling. And yeah, obviously, a lot of people have been say like, what you said was mad funny. You don't have to apologize for that. So again, there is like a real kind of mix of opinions whenever it comes to this response, and also just the entire topic itself with Bao. And I think that is the kind of moral of a lot of this, is that a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this, right? And it is a big mix. There is no like one side versus another anymore. It is kind of just like a just a free-for-all right now. And yeah, some people are mad at Shondo, some people aren't mad at Shondo, some people are mad at Bao, some people aren't mad at Bao. And I think honestly it is a big whole mess right now. And as I said, I do think obviously there are some important points that Shondo put in this response, but also at the same time she does obviously contradict herself and kind of undermine a lot of her points by saying, yeah, stuff like I said the kind of quiet part out loud, which obviously undermines the entire kind of response to it. But also I can understand her wanting to break down the walls and things like that. And, her wanting to correct the kind of bits where she's been misinterpreted. So again, I do think at the end of the day, she probably could have done a better job to kind of explain it a little bit more. And I do think, obviously, she should think a little bit more before obviously responding to this kind of stuff. And it seems like, you know, that will be happening going forwards. But it is just disappointing to see that maybe, you know, this kind of harsh language or this kind of harsh accusation. It's not like she's not exactly like accusing this guy of being, well, she kind of like, it's a hard one. She's not like straight up accusing him, but like also just to kind of throw that out there randomly when it's got nothing to do with that really is, yeah, pretty insane. And again, I can understand why people are mad, and I can also understand why some people don't see it as much, because it is a very nuanced thing, right? And I think it's more up to you to kind of decide on whether you agree with the response that Shondo has given, or if you you know, think that a lot of the kind of you know, points that have been made aren't as good, right? But yeah, a lot of people saying I'm not here to chime in on whether the apology is good or bad. I'm here to point out the dangers of people downplaying the word groomer and using it for every stupid little disagreement. And I think, yeah, that is essentially why a lot of people aren't too happy, is mainly because of, you know, how much the word will get downplayed whenever you use it like this. Again, it happens a lot in the community with other words too. For example, like, you know, Nazi and things like that. That gets thrown around all the time to people that are maybe like slightly right, or maybe have an opinion that they disagree with, right? And then they go out and throw that word, and then obviously it starts to lose its meaning a little bit whenever people use it constantly. And the same can be said for things like groomer. If people start to normalize using this word for things that they dislike, obviously then it can start to get pretty bad. And I think that, yeah, it is a kind of difficult one. Yeah, I just wish that, you know, obviously she can just, you know, carry on doing what she's doing, and maybe just, yeah, just don't call people groomers in the replies, because I think that is pretty crazy. And yeah, I think a lot of people want to move on. Some people don't want to move on, but again, we'll have to wait and see what kind of happens. But as I said, it's all up to you to kind of decide what you think of this. I'm kind of in the middle here. I can understand where a lot of this has been, yeah, not the best response, including like the British humor stuff and everything like that. And yeah, kind of undermining a lot of the response. But also I can understand why some people don't really care too much too. It's really just a mixed bag. So again, believe whatever you want to believe. I'm just giving you the information here and some of the things that some people have said down in the comments down below. And yeah, as I said, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to Game Subs, use my code Kazo, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.